Oh, what's this? Some sort of Game Boy thing? That's kinda neat looking, I guess. Huh, I wonder how this works. I guess I just turn it on like this, and I I like this. If you had met me when I was a kid and I wasn't too busy picking my nose and playing with bugs, and you had asked me what my one wish would be, I would have immediately, without hesitation, said all the video games. That's all I wanted in life, to have every game. And back then, it seemed like such a far-fetched idea, having all the video games of the 80s and 90s. And if you took it one step further, the idea that you could have all the video games on a portable Game Boy, that would have literally made my head exploded. Literally. Yes, it's actually possible. It happened to my friend's cousin, who used to work for Nintendo. And I can't promise that this video won't make your head exploded, but hey, nothing ventured, nothing gained. So let's just cross our fingers and hope for the best. If you found this video, maybe you're brand new to this retro emulation hobby, or maybe someone you know sent you this video to help you understand what this is about, or maybe you're one of my regular viewers and you know everything I'm gonna tell you already, but you're watching anyway because of Stockholm syndrome kind of thing. Or maybe the algorithm just thought that you and I would make a cute couple. However you ended up here, you're here now, and you can't turn back. The only way out is through. So take a deep breath, and let's take this one step at a time. This is a retro emulation handheld. Think of it like a smartphone, but the screen is smaller and it has a controller attached to it, and it has special emulation software on here that runs old video games, and it has other special software that gives you a nice clean interface to browse and manage your games. It all comes together to basically be a souped up Game Boy that can emulate all the best retro games ever. Or like a retro style Nintendo Switch for the kids in the audience that don't know what a Game Boy is. Oh God, I'm so old. I used the word emulation a couple times, so I guess I should quickly explain what that means. Picture it like this. The NES was a game console, and in there it had a motherboard with computer chips on it, chips for graphics and sound, a processor and memory, computery stuff. Well, an emulator recreates all those computer pieces with software. So an emulator app contains the code that does the same stuff as a piece of hardware. More or less. And the game cartridges are really nothing more than a chip that contains the game data, the code of the game, like how the game works and all the pictures and sounds and stuff. So a ROM file is the data from a game cartridge, or disk or whatever. So an emulator is an app that runs like an old console, and a ROM file is the game files. And a retro handheld is sort of like a little mini computer that runs emulators. And if you're wondering if that means that you have the ability to run games from all the retro systems on this one device, well, I have some news for you. Yeah, you can. You can play all your old favorite games on these things. I can't understate how magical this is. A retro handheld is like having the history of video games in the palm of your hand. You just start up a game and play it as if you're transported back in time. It's simple as that. You can also use modern quality of life features like save states, fast forward, which is great for old RPGs and like Pokemon games, cheats to make the games easier or funner, and about a million other customizations that you can learn about as you go. You can play all the old stuff on these things. Atari, Game Boy, Nintendo, Super Nintendo, Game Boy Advance, Sega Master System, Genesis, Commodore 64 and DOS games, Neo Geo and arcade games, and even more advanced 3D stuff like PlayStation 1 and Dreamcast, Nintendo 64, Nintendo DS and PSP, and the higher end retro handhelds will let you play even more advanced stuff like Sega Saturn, GameCube and PlayStation 2, Nintendo 3DS, and even Nintendo Switch and modern PC games. It's like the future made love to the past and had a baby, and named that baby an incomprehensible string of letters and numbers. If you go on the hunt for a retro handheld, which I will hence here forthwith call a retro doodad, that's my little nickname for these things. If you're looking around, you'll quickly learn that there is a lot of these things. Retro doodads come in all sorts of shapes and sizes, different aesthetics, and they have different components. They have different size screens, some are more powerful and can handle more stuff. Maybe you want something small and pocket friendly that you can take with you to impress the ladies at the tea shop. Or maybe you want something big and comfy to play Booger Man on the couch, alone on a Friday night. There's a doodad for every occasion. There are two general categories of devices in the retro doodad world. You got your Linux retro handhelds and your Android retro handhelds. Linux doodads are generally more console-like. Not much that you need to tinker with out of the box. It's kind of like you get a Linux retro doodad and you open it and you turn it on and you start playing games. Each of them comes with different versions of Linux, which is the operating system, and they can be quite different. Some are better than others too. A good general rule of thumb is that the devices that most people like tend to have good systems. For example, the Miyoo Mini Plus or the Amberlic devices like this RG35XX Plus or the Battle XP G350. Actually, this one is the handheld that I recently crowned as the best starter handheld. And I stand by that. I think this thing is amazing for the price. I'll link to my review video in the description below. So the stock system on all of these is different, but they're all good, and all of them are plug and play out of the box, and they come with games pre-installed. Actually, the Miyoo Mini and the G350, if you buy these from a store like Lit NXT, they sell these upgraded SD cards that come with much better ROM sets than the stock versions. That's what I personally use on my favorite handheld, the Miyoo Mini. So that's what I recommend, especially for newcomers to the hobby. The next category of devices are the Android devices. They run Android, obviously, and they behave kind of like cell phones. You know, they've got touch screens and you download apps from Google Play and you can just use them like a phone, really. But they have controllers attached. The upside to Android devices is that they're very customizable. You can change the front end, which is like the software that you use to browse your games, and you can update your emulators to the latest versions. And Android devices are the most powerful. That's what you'll need if you want to be running like GameCube and PS2, and even 3DS and Nintendo Switch. However, the downside is that you need to set these up yourself, that they don't come set up out of the box, and they don't come with games, except for one brand, Anbernic. This company makes a bunch of great Android devices, and they're one of the few companies that ships Android devices with games pre-installed. I'm quite fond of this Anbernic RG476H, but there's other popular brands like Retroid, Ein, and Ioneo. I'll leave some links to my reviews of a few interesting options that I like in the thingy below. And I'll also link to my latest Android emulation guide, where I walk you through how I do the setup, step by step. So Linux devices are more budget friendly, and they're easy because they're plug and play and kind of more newbie friendly, and Android devices are more powerful and customizable, but you'll need to be willing to learn and put in the work to set them up. And if you like videos like this and you want to see more, you need to be willing to do the work of clicking the subscribe button. So I'll give you a second to do that. Yay! How you're going to use these things will depend on which device you get and how the stock system is set up. And I can't show you all the different options in this one video, obviously. So I'll just pick one to give you a quick little demo. This is the Miyoo Mini Plus, a wonderful, well-loved little handheld. It's one of my favorites. This one here is running that custom SD card from Lit NXT that I mentioned. It's a system called Onion OS. So when I boot this up, I'll be taken to this lovely looking menu, which I've customized with the TechDweeb theme. In this game section is a list of all the systems that I have on here. And there's so much stuff on here. Old computer stuff, obscure consoles, arcade stuff, portable systems, home consoles, even PC ports, and some higher end stuff like PS1 and Nintendo DS. There is so much on here. You could literally have a lifetime of gaming with this one collection. Let's pick a system and start up a game. If I open the Super Nintendo folder, you're going to see that this thing is packed with Super Nintendo games. All of the Super Nintendo games are on here. Every single one. Let's go with one of my personal favorites, Chrono Trigger. I can pick the game and it starts right up, and it takes me right to where I left off. In the game, I have some hotkeys to save and load my state and exit the game. Like I said, this system is called Onion OS, and Onion OS does some fun stuff, like you can switch between the games you've played recently, and also if you have a game running, you can just turn off the device and it will automatically save your spot, and then the next time you turn it on, you'll be taken right to where you left off in your game. I love this feature. And there's even more advanced options under the hood. This system uses a program called RetroArch to handle handle the emulation stuff. And there's a ton of options in here that you can learn about when you're ready to take the next step and start tinkering. Different handhelds have different systems, but all of them sort of work basically the same. At least the Linux systems. When it comes to Android, you're on your own to set it up how you want, and I don't have the time to teach you about that, but my guide shows you the way that I set up my Android doodads. One of the things that makes this retro doodad hobby fun and interesting is how customizable these things are. You can do so many tweaks to change the experience of how these things look and feel and how the games look and feel. For instance, you can apply shaders to your games to make them look more like the screens of the original hardware. So your Super Nintendo games can look like they're running on an old CRT TV, or your Game Boy games can look like that old green and black Game Boy screen. If you're on a Linux device, you can customize the front end, which is like the software that runs on the device where you can browse through your games and change settings. Most of these systems come with themes pre-installed that you can pick from, and you can download more themes. And on Linux devices, you can install different operating systems, which is more complicated, but it opens up new possibilities because some of the community-made systems are more advanced and have extra emulators and more features and even better performance. One of my favorite custom operating systems that works on a ton of different devices is called Newly, and I made a little tutorial about how to install that. For Android devices, the sky's the limit to what kinds of customizations you can do. There are different Android front ends that you can install and use and customize the heck out of them to make them look how you like, and gaming front ends. Lots of those, and you can change stuff about them too. My favorite is ESDE. This is what I have installed on all my Android doodads, but some people prefer other ones. There's so much choice on Android, and there's a whole bunch of different emulator options. And you can obviously do regular Android stuff on these too, like pull up a website to see a walkthrough for your game while you're playing, or listen to music while you're playing, or watch a TechDweeb video while you're playing. Android doodads are sort of like phones. You know, like when you get a new phone and you don't know much about how it works, but after you've had it for a year or whatever, you've completely changed stuff around and you know all the little tricks it can do. Also, you can customize the way they look too. You can pick from a plethora of colors and order replacement buttons and shells, grips and cases, and even stickers and decals, like the official TechDweeb Handheld stickers that all the cool kids are using. Link below. And there's a whole slew of more advanced tricks that these things can do. Lots of them can be plugged into a TV, and you can connect up Bluetooth controllers and use them like a home console, like a retro game console for your TV kind of thing. You can also get into installing ports for PC games or obscure retro systems. You can explore those libraries, or get into playing homebrew games and ROM hacks, or translated games that never made it to North America. And on Android devices, you can play Android games, and also, this is new, PC games. If you have games on Steam, you can straight up play PC games on your Android handhelds now. It's wild. Which brings me to the best trick that retro handhelds can do, is that they get better and better all the time. In this weird world where everything seems to be getting more expensive and we get less and less for our money, companies are nickel and diming us left, right, and center, games keep getting weirder and more expensive and more bloated and broken. It's crazy that amidst this downward spiral, the retro games hobby is doing exactly the opposite. It keeps getting better. Each month we have new emulator updates, new devices that do more stuff, and everything is somehow getting cheaper. You get so much for so little these days compared to even just a couple of years ago. And that's really my favorite part of this hobby. I love the handhelds, I love the games, but the thing I love the most is the exciting changes that are happening all the time. There's always something cool just around the corner, and I eat that up like instant mashed potatoes on a Tuesday morning. That's my special instant mashed potato time, by the way. So don't bug me on Tuesday mornings. And that's it. That's what these retro handheld doodads are all about. They take something complicated, retro game emulation, and they make it easy and portable and fun as heck. If you made it to the end of this video, you'll probably love these things and you should get one. Unless you're just watching because you're mesmerized by my floppy hands. In which case, you should probably click the subscribe button for more floppy hand videos like this. And that's gonna do it for me for today. I'm TechDweeb, thanks for watching. Bye-bye.